Good evening, and welcome back to Dreamward Stories. Before we begin, make yourself comfortable. Let your body settle into the bed, the chair, or wherever you are resting tonight. Let your shoulders soften, your breathing slow, and allow the day to gently fall away from you, one quiet thought at a time. Here at Dreamward Stories, we tell calm, immersive bedtime stories for adults. Stories made to help you relax, drift, and feel far from the noise of ordinary life. And as you settle in, I would love to know where you are listening from tonight. You can leave a little comment with your city, country, or simply the place where this story has found you. If this story helps you rest, a like is always appreciated. And if you would like more quiet stories to fall asleep to, you are warmly welcome to subscribe. Now, let the room grow still. Let the world soften, and let tonight's story lead you gently dreamward. Tonight, you are a young royal messenger in Camelot, where mist drifts over the castle roads and lanterns glow softly beside the stables. Your evening begins like any other, with messages to carry and familiar paths to follow. But then, inside your satchel, a fourth letter appears. No one placed it there. Its parchment is pale as moonlight. Its wax seal bears the royal crest of Camelot, but not the crest of today. This seal belongs to tomorrow. On the front, written in careful ink, are only a few quiet words. To the right hand before midnight. Now, before the castle bells ring 12, you must carry this mysterious letter through the round table hall, the bell tower, the moonlit forest, and the hidden places of Camelot, to discover who it was truly meant for. The letter is not in your satchel when you leave the royal stables. You are certain of this because you check every message before you set out. That is one of the first things a royal messenger learns in Camelot. Count the seals, read the names, feel the weight of every folded parchment through the leather, not to pry, but to know that nothing has slipped away. At dawn there had been 3 letters. One for the baker who supplies the lower kitchens, one for Sir Bedivere, who is visiting the western watchtower, one for the Queen's gardener, who has requested permission to plant winter violets beneath the chapel windows. 3 letters. Now, as evening gathers in the corners of the stable yard, and mist climbs softly over the cobblestones, there are 4. You stand beside a patient gray mare named Lark, one hand resting on the satchel strap across your chest. The stable lanterns have just been lit. Their flames glow low and gold inside glass panes, blurred with damp. Somewhere beyond the walls, the city road curves down toward the market gates, and beyond that, fields sink into blue twilight. The 4th letter lies on top of the others. Its parchment is pale, almost silver in the lantern light. It is folded with a neatness you have never seen before. The edges line so perfectly, they seem to belong to a rule older than hands. The wax seal is deep blue, darker than the evening sky, and pressed into it is the royal crest of Camelot, but not quite. You know the crest well. Every messenger does. A crowned dragon, round shield, 3 small stars above the tower. This seal bears the same dragon and the same tower, but the shield is different. It holds a rising sun over an open gate. Around the edge of the wax, tiny letters circle the crest in a script so fine you have to hold it near the lantern to read. Not yesterday, not today, tomorrow. You do not move for a while. Lark lowers her head and breathes warm air against your sleeve, as if to remind you that strange things are still allowed to happen quietly. The stable yard smells of clean straw, leather oil, rain-soft stone, and the faint sweetness of apples stored in a wooden crate near the tack room. The world around you remains ordinary, A groom carries a bucket across the yard. A pigeon shifts sleepily beneath the eaves. Somewhere, a horse stamps once, then settles. Only the letter seems awake. You turn it over. There is no sender's name. On the front, in careful ink, are the words, "To the right hand before midnight." You read the line again. Not the right knight, not the right lord, not the right king, the right hand. Above the castle, the first bell of evening begins to ring. It rolls over Camelot in a slow bronze note, deep and patient. Held off for dusk. Many hours remain before midnight, yet the sound makes the letter seem warmer beneath your fingers. The stable master, Mistress Lowin, looks up from tightening a girth on a chestnut palfrey. Her gray braid hangs over one shoulder, and the lantern beside her turns the silver strands into threads of moonlight. "Something troubles your satchel?" she asks. You glance at her, then at the letter. In Camelot, messengers do not hide messages. They carry them. A letter appeared, you say. Mistress Elowin wipes her hands on a folded cloth and comes closer. She does not touch the parchment. She only studies the seal, and her expression changes in the careful way of someone who has lived long enough not to laugh at mystery. "The crest has not been made yet," she says softly. "You know it? I saw the Queen's needlewomen discussing a new banner this morning. A design for tomorrow's council, an open gate beneath the sun." Her eyes move to the words on the front. "But no seal has been cast for it. Not yet." Lark shifts beside you. The leather of her bridle gives a small, pleasant creak. "Who is the right hand?" you ask. Mistress Elowin smiles faintly. Oh, it is not the kind of smile that gives an answer. In Camelot, many hands think themselves right. A king's hand, a knight's sword hand, the queeness hand in council, Merlin's hand over old books. She looks toward the castle rising above the stable roofs, its towers fading into blue mist. You had better begin where the round table stands. The second evening bell rings. You tuck the mysterious letter carefully back into your satchel. Its wax is warm, but not melting. It rests against your side like a small, quiet heartbeat. You lead Lark from the stable yard and onto the inner road. Camelot waits above you, built of pale stone and soft light. Banners hang still in the damp air. Windows glow one by one as servants pass through chambers with candles. The road climbs between walls where ivy darkens in the evening. The whole castle seems to breathe slowly, as if it has entered that hour when day loosens its hold, and night has not yet spoken. You are a royal messenger. You know the ways through gate, garden, hall, and tower. You know which stair avoids the busy kitchens, which archway stays dry in rain, which courtyard catches the first moonlight, and which door sighs when opened quickly. You are young, but your feet have learned Camelot's many paths. Tonight, they will need to remember all of them. The letter from tomorrow rests in your satchel, and before the bells ring midnight, it must find the hand it came for. The road from the stables to the upper court is washed in mist. It does not hide Camelot so much as soften it. The edges of towers blur. Lanterns glow with round halos. The hoofs of larks sound gentle on the stones, each step small and hollow beneath the rising walls. You do not ride it first. The distance is not far. And there is something about walking beside a horse at twilight that makes the world seem easier to understand. Lark's breath steams in the cool air. Her mane lifts when the wind slips through the passage between the armory and the west garden wall. At the first arch, a page hurries past with folded linens in his arms. The kitchen boys carry a covered tray toward the guest hall. From the lower courtyard comes the sound of someone laughing softly, then closing a door before the noise travels too far. Camelot is not quiet because nothing happens here. It is quiet because so much happens with care. You pass beneath the carved stone lion that marks the entrance to the upper court. Its face has watched generations of messengers, knights, queens, servants, scholars, and kings pass beneath its paws. Tonight, a drop of rainwater hangs from its chin like a clear jewel. The round table hall stands ahead. It is not the tallest building in Camelot, but it has a gravity of its own. Its doors are made of old oak darkened by years of hands. Iron hinges curl like vines across the wood. Above the lintel, a lantern burns with a steady flame sheltered behind red glass. You give Lark's reins to a young groom waiting under the awning. "Only a short while," you say. The groom nods and scratches Lark between the ears. Lark accepts this with the dignity of a horse who knows she is often more patient than people. Inside, the hall is warm. Firelight moves over stone pillars. A long hearth glows on the far wall, and the great round table sits at the center beneath a ring of hanging lamps. The table is larger than memory ever makes it. No head, no foot, no place greater than another. Its polished surface holds the soft reflections of the lamps above, so that for a moment it looks like a pond filled with steady stars. Several knights are gathered there, though the evening meal has ended. Their voices are low. No one wears armor. Cloaks hang over chairbacks. A silver cup rests near a folded map. Someone has left a sprig of rosemary beside a half-burned candle. Sir Bedivere stands near the hearth, reading the letter you delivered from the steward earlier. He is broad-shouldered, calm-eyed, and known for speaking only after his thoughts have had time to sit down properly. When he sees you, he lowers the parchment. "Back so soon?" You bow. "Another message has come." His eyebrows lift slightly. In Camelot, that can mean more than another man's shout. You take out the silver letter and hold it carefully in both hands. The hall seems to grow softer around it. Sir Bedivere does not reach it once. He looks at the blue wax seal, and the firelight catches the unfamiliar crest. "That is tomorrow's mark," he says. "So Mistress Ethelwyn told me." One of the other knights rises. A younger knight, fair-haired and curious. "Tomorrow's mark?" Sir Bedivere gestures gently, and the younger man quiets. "May I?" Bedivere asks. You place the letter in his hands. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the wax seal dims, not greatly, not like a candle blown out. It simply loses the warmth it held in your palm. The deep blue becomes dull, the crest no longer shining with that strange inner light. Sir Bedivere notices too. He gives it back without opening it. "Not mine," he says. "You are a knight of the Round Table." The younger knight says, sounding puzzled, "Though not yours, whose?" Bedivere looks at the table. That is the trouble with round things. They do not point easily. The fire settles with a sigh. You turn the letter again. The front still reads, "To the right hand before midnight." Sir Bedivere studies the words. "The right hand," he says. "Not necessarily the highest hand. Not necessarily the strongest. Could it be for the king?" "It may be," he answers. "Yet I would not rush to the throne with a letter that refuses a knight's hand. Some messages must be understood before they are delivered." A small tapping sound comes from the far side of the hall. At first you think it is rain against the window. Then you see that one of the hanging lamps above the table is flickering in an odd rhythm. 3 bright pulses, a pause. Then one more. Sir Bedivere follows your gaze. The lamp flame turns blue for a breath. On the letter a seal. The wax warms again. A fine line appears around the crest, delicate as a thread pressed into snow. It forms the shape of a bell. The younger knight draws in a quiet breath. Bedivere does not seem alarmed, only attentive. "The bell tower," he says. "But the words say the right hand. The bells are rung by hand." You tuck the letter away with care. The hall doors open behind you, and a draught slips across the floor, carrying the scent of wet stone and night air. Outside, the third evening bell begins. Its voice is softer from here, filtered through walls and mist, but it moves through the round table all the same. Sir Bedivere walks with you to the door. "One more thing," he says. You look up. If the letter came from tomorrow, it may not be trying to change the future. It may be trying to keep a small promise that tomorrow already remembers. The words settle in you without becoming heavy. You step back into the court. The mist has thickened. The moon has not yet risen, but somewhere behind the clouds, the night is gathering its silver. Lark waits beneath the awning, ears forward, as though she has been listening. You place a hand against your satchel. The seal is warm again. The bell shape is still there. And far above the courtyard, the bell tower waits with one dark window, looking over Camelot. The bell tower stands behind the chapel, where the castle wall bends toward the old forest. It is not a grand tower, not like the King's High Chamber or the White Watchtower, facing the road to the north. The bell tower is narrow and weather-marked, built of stone that has taken on the color of rain. Moss grows between its lower steps. Ivy curls around one side, kept carefully trimmed so it does not reach the bells. Most people hear the tower every day. Few climb it. You leave Lark beneath a covered walk near the chapel garden, where the grass is silvered with dew and the winter violets wait in dark beds for the Queen's permission. The groom there gives Lark an apple slice, and receives, in return, Lark's full approval. The tower door is small enough that even a tall person must bow a little to enter. Its iron ring is cold beneath your hand. While you pull, the wood opens with a low murmur, as though it has been sleeping and does not mind being woken gently. Inside, the air smells of rope, old dust, rain, and candle wax. A spiral stair rises along the wall. You climb slowly. Each step has been worn smooth in the center by years of bell-keepers, monks, pages, perhaps a few curious children who were later scolded with affection. Through narrow slits in the stone, you see pieces of Camelot as you rise. Light window, a roof line, a strip of courtyard, a soft blur of mist moving over the lower walls. At the first landing, you hear humming. It is not magical, at least, not in any obvious way. It is the kind of humming someone makes when they have spent many years doing work alone, and have learned to keep themselves gentle company. Brother Alden, the bell-keeper, sits on a wooden stool beside a small table. He is thin, elderly, and wrapped in a brown wool cloak, despite the mild evening. His white hair forms a soft cloud around his head. Before him are 3 cups of tea, though only one has steam rising from it. He looks up as if he expected you. "Ah," he says, "the young messenger with the 4th letter." You stop on the landing. "You know, I know the bells sounded odd at dusk," he says, "and I know that when bells sound odd, a messenger is usually not far behind." His eyes brighten. "Come, then. Is it for me?" You take the letter from your satchel. The blue wax shines in the dim tower light. The bell mark that appeared in the round table hall is still faintly visible around the crest. Brother Alden holds out both hands. You place the letter in them. For a heartbeat, the tower is still. Then the ropes overhead give the faintest stir, though no wind reaches them. Brother Alden closes his eyes, listening. He has the expression of someone hearing rain before it begins. Wax warms, then cools. Alden opens his eyes and smiles. "Near," he says, "but not mine. Near. That is what the bells say when they almost recognize a thing." He gives the letter back to you. You are learning that almost is not failure. It is a lantern hung along the way. You look down at the words on the front. "To the right hand before midnight." If it is not for the bell-keeper, you say, why did the seal show a bell? Brother Alden reaches for the steaming cup and offers it to you. Because the bells are part of the message, perhaps. Sit a moment. Messengers should not be allowed to run on mystery alone. You sit on the edge of the stair, cup in hand. The tea is mild and honeyed. Its warmth travels into your fingers, then slowly through you. Brother Alden takes the second cup, one that had not been steaming before. Somehow it now is. Midnight bells are different, he says. Most bells tell the castle what hour it is. Midnight tells the castle what kind of night it is becoming. What kinds are there? He smiles. Clear, storm-bound, watchful, grieving, celebrating, resting. There are old patterns. Most are no longer used, because most nights do not ask for them. He looks toward the ropes. But bells remember more than people think. The letter gives a small pulse of warmth in your lap. Brother Alden notices. Ah, it likes remembering. You turn the seal toward the candle. Another line appears in the wax. Not a bell this time. A road. It begins at the lower edge of the seal and curves upward toward the open gate beneath the rising sun. The line is so fine it might have been drawn with a single strand of hair. Brother Alden leans closer. That road leaves the castle, he says. Toward the city? He shakes his head. Toward the forest. Outside the slit window, mist moves between the chapel roof and the dark line of trees beyond Camelot's wall. The forest road is closed at night, you say. Closed to carts, Alden replies. Closed to hunting parties. Closed to those who go looking for noise. He taps one finger gently against the table, but not closed to a messenger carrying a letter that knows where it came from. The fourth evening bell has long faded. Time gathers quietly round the tower. How many hours until midnight? You ask. Enough, says Brother Alden. Not many, but enough. You finish the tea. Alden reaches beneath the table and takes out a small brass handbell. It is old, polished in some places by touch and darkened in others by age. He ties it with a blue thread and gives it to you. This is not for ringing loudly, he says. It is for listening. If the road becomes uncertain, hold it still. It will move toward the sound it belongs to. And handbell is cool and light. You buy your thanks. As you descend the spiral stair, the letter rests in your satchel beside the bell, and the tower hums above you with sleeping bronze. Outside, the moon has risen. It hangs pale behind a veil of cloud, and the road toward the forest glimmers faintly where the mist has opened. Lark lifts her head when she sees you. The night is deeper now, but not unkind. You place your foot in stirrup and mount. The castle gate ahead stands open beneath a lantern. Beyond it, the old forest waits. The road beyond Camelot's gate is narrow, but Lark knows it. She has carried messages along the forest edge in rain, hack frost, dawn, and late summer dusk. Tonight she moves with careful steps, ears turning toward every sound. The brass handbell hangs from your satchel strap by its blue thread. It does not ring. It simply rests there, catching a little moonlight. Each time the clouds shift, behind you, Camelot rises like a dream built from stone and candlelight. Its towers are softened by mist. The bell tower is a dark finger against the clouds. The round table hall glows low and round, a warm lantern among walls. Ahead, the forest gathers close. The trees are old here, older than some roads, older, perhaps, than the first stones of Camelot. Their trunks stand broad and dark on the other side of the path, and their branches knit overhead in a black lacework, where drops of mist cling like beads. The road is pale beneath Lark's hooves, made visible by moonlight and the faint shimmer of wet leaves. You have ridden this way by day. By night, it feels less like leaving Camelot and more like entering the quiet thoughts beneath it. The letter warms in your satchel. After a while, the brass bell begins to turn, not swing. not ring. It turns gently on its thread, as if an unseen hand is pointing it toward the deeper wood. You guide Lark from the main road onto a smaller path nearly hidden between hazel branches. The path smells of damp bark and crushed fern. Somewhere, an owl calls once, then decides the matter has been settled. The forest does not feel empty. It feels occupied by patience. You ride until you find a low stone bridge crossing a narrow stream. Water slips beneath it, with a sound like someone turning pages in the dark. On the far side of the bridge stands a cottage you have never noticed before, though you are certain you have passed this way often. Its roof is steep and moss-soft. A lantern hangs beside the door, glowing blue, the same blue as the wax seal. Lark stops without being asked. Smoke rises from the chimney in a thin silver thread. Beside the door, bundles of dried herbs hang beneath the eaves, and a row of small wooden birds has been carved into the lintel. Each bird faces a different direction. Before you can dismount, the door opens. A woman steps out. She is neither young nor old in the way forest people sometimes seem to be. Her hair is dark with a streak of white near one temple. She wears a green cloak clasped with a round wooden brooch shaped like an oak leaf. In one hand she carries a candle that burns without wavering. "You are later than noon," she says, "but earlier than midnight. That is usually where important things happen." You climb down from Lark and bow. "I am carrying a letter." "Yes," says the woman. "Most messengers are. Yours is carrying you as well." You do not know how to answer that, so you take the letter from her satchel. The blue seal brightens. The road mark in the wax glows faintly. Then, around the road, small leaves appear one by one, pressed into the wax by no visible hand. The woman looks at it and nods. "I'm Rowan," she says. "I mend wooden things for Camelot when they remember to ask. Are you the right hand?" She smiles. "I have two hands, and both are often covered in sawdust. But no, not tonight." The letter remains warm, does not open. Rowan reaches into a basket near the door and brings out a folded cloth. Inside lies a small carving made of pale wood. It is an unfinished sun, its rays only partly shaped. "I began this 3 days ago," she says. "No one asked me to. That is how I knew it belonged to someone important." "To the new crest?" you ask. "The place beneath it." She runs her thumb along the carving's smooth edge. "Tomorrow they will speak in the hall about Camelot's new banner. Open gate, rising sun, fine symbols. But symbols must have roots, or they become decoration." The forest shifts around her cottage, quiet and listening. "Where must I take it?" you ask. Rowan places the wooden sun in your hand. It is warm, like something that has been resting near a hearth. "To the table," she says. "The round table. Where else would Camelot keep its roots?" You think of Sir Bedivere's words. Not the highest hand, not the strongest. "Is the letter for King Arthur, then?" you ask. "Or the Queen, or Merlin?" Rowan looks toward the trees. "Perhaps, perhaps not. But before a letter can be delivered to the right hand, it sometimes must learn the road to that hand. You have shown it hall, bell, and forest. It has shown you table, hour, and root." She returns her gaze to you. "There is one more place it will ask to go." The brass hand bell gives the softest tremble. A single note rises from it, almost too small to hear. Rowan listens, then turns toward the deeper trees. "The old moon gate," she says. "It has not opened for many years. Is it far?" "Nothing is far when it waits for the proper footsteps." She gives you a bundle wrapped in waxed cloth. Bread, cheese, and apple slices for you, oats for your good horse. Tell Lark I guessed correctly. Lark, who has been pretending not to listen, flicks an ear. Rowan's smile deepens. You tuck the wooden sun carefully beside the letter. A wax seal shines brighter now, marked with bell, road, and leaves. Will I find the right hand there? You ask. At the moon gate? Rowan lifts her candle. You will find the next kindness. Often, that is how the right hand is found. You mount again. Rowan raises the blue lantern from beside her door and hangs it on a low branch near the path. Its light spills across the ground, revealing a way between the trees you had not seen before. As you ride on, the cottage fades behind you. The forest grows quieter. The handbell points forward, and high above, the moon comes free of the clouds. The moon gate is not a gate at first. It is a clearing. You reach it after the forest path has wound through bracken, beneath leaning branches, and past stones furred with pale moss. The trees step back in a wide circle, and the moonlight falls cleanly there, silver and still. At the center of the clearing stand two upright stones, each taller than a knight. They lean slightly toward one another, as if sharing a secret. Between them is only air. Lark stops at the edge of the clearing. The brass handbell hangs motionless. The letter has grown very warm. You dismount and lead Lark forward. The grass is wet enough to darken your boots. A ring of small white flowers grows around the stones, though the season is wrong for blossoms. They do not sway in the breeze. They seem to listen. You stand between the stones and wait. Nothing happens. Then you remember Brother Alden's words. If the road becomes uncertain, hold the bell still. You take the brass handbell from its thread and hold it in both hands, not ringing it, not moving it. Its metal is cool against your palms. The forest seems to inhale. A faint sound comes from far away. Not a bell. A horse's hoof on stone. A page turning. A chair being drawn quietly from beneath a table. Then, beneath those sounds, a voice speaks. Who carries tomorrow before it is made? The voice does not come from the stones, or the trees, or the sky. It comes from the space between moments, soft and clear. You answer as simply as you can. Messenger of Camelot. The air between the stones grows silver. And what is carried? A letter sealed with tomorrow's crest. And for whom? You look down at the letter. The words on the front have changed. They no longer read only, to the right hand before midnight. Beneath that line, another has appeared. A hand that carries without being seen. You read it twice. The clearing remains quiet. I do not know yet, you say. The silver light deepens. The air between the stones becomes a doorway, not opening outward, but becoming visible. Through it you see the round table hall, though not as it was when you left. It is darker. The lamps are lower. The table stands empty beneath moonlight from high windows. At its center lies something small and bright, a wooden sun, the unfinished carving Rowan gave you. You touch your satchel and feel it still there. The image in the gate is not now. It may be later. It may be tomorrow. The voice speaks again. What does the future ask of a messenger? You think of all the messages you have carried. Orders, invitations, apologies, blessings, requests for flour, horseshoes, medicine, musicians, candles, records, boots, the great and small errands of a kingdom stitched together by footsteps. It asks that the message arrive, you say. The flowers around the stones shine faintly. And what does Camelot ask? That question is harder. The king might say loyalty. The queen might say wisdom. A knight might say honor. A cook might say punctuality, especially before supper. Brother Alden might say listening. Mistress Alwyn might say good boots and better judgment. You stand with the bell cool in your hands, and Lark breathing behind you. Camelot asks many hands to care for it, you say. The silver doorway brightens. A sound comes through it then. The bells of midnight. Not loud. Not yet. Only an echo. Arriving early. The letter in your satchel pulses once. The wax seal gives a tiny crack. You draw it out quickly, fearing it has broken. But the seal is whole. A new mark has appeared across the blue wax. A small open hand. Not a king's hand with rings. Not a knight's hand in a gauntlet. A plain hand, palm upward, as if ready to receive or offer. The moon gate begins to fade. Before it closes, the voice speaks one last time. Return before midnight. The hand will be known where all hands are equal. The silver light thins. The two stones become only stones again. The clearing is once more a clearing, full of moonlight and quiet flowers. For a moment you remain standing there, the bell in one hand, and a letter in the other, where all hands are equal. The round table. You tuck the letter away, mount Lark, and turn back toward Camelot. The forest path seems clearer now, not brighter exactly, but more willing to be found. Branches that had leaned low now lift from your way. The brass bell gives no sound, but it points behind you. Cold the road home, as Lark carries you through the trees. You think of the line that appeared on the letter, a hand that carries without being seen. You have delivered messages to many people who never learn your name. You have crossed wet roads, climbed cold stairs, waited outside council doors, held horses, carried bread notes, found lost ribbons, brought medicine, and taken letters sealed with grief or joy. The work is not sung by bards. It is not carved on shields. Yet every letter arrives because someone carries it. The thought does not make you proud. It makes the night around you feel larger and kinder. By the time the trees thin and Camelot's lanterns appear ahead, the moon is high and clear. The castle bells ring the hour. Not midnight, not yet, but close enough that the notes seem to walk beside you as you pass through the gate. Camelot feels different when you return. Not changed. Not exactly. The same guards stand at the gate with cloaks drawn against the mist. The same lanterns burn along the walls. The same tower roofs rise against the moon. Yet the castle seems to be listening more closely than before, as if every stone knows the night is carrying something toward its center. You ride through the lower court, where the kitchens are still warm. A woman in a flour-dusted apron steps out with a basket covered in cloth. When she sees your satchel and Lark as damp mane, she beckons you beneath the kitchen awning. "Ni messenger passes my door looking hollow-eyed," she says. "This is Mistress Alice, chief baker of the lower kitchens. She has arms strong from kneading dough and a face that always looks as though it is deciding whether to scold you or feed you. Usually she does both. I have bread from Rowan," you tell her. "Forest bread," Alice says. "Good for riddles. Not enough for writing." She presses a warm roll into your hand anyway. "There, castle bread. Good for common sense." Roll smells of butter and rosemary. You thank her. Mistress Alice eyes your satchel. "And that letter still not delivered. You know of it too. In the castle. Child, the walls have ears, and half of them work in kitchens." She leans closer. "They say it bears tomorrow's crest." You unwrap just enough of the satchel flap to show the blue wax. The kitchen lantern catches the marks now crowded around the seal. Bell, road, leaves, open hand. Mistress Alice's expression softens. "Ah," she says, "that kind of letter." "What kind?" "The kind that makes important people remembered. They are not the only ones holding the roof up." She wipes flour from her wrist and looks toward the upper halls. "You will be going to the round table, then?" "Yes." "You should take the servants' passage. The council doors are closer from the main stair, and busier," she says. If a letter asks for the hand that carries without being seen, perhaps it would appreciate the road used by unseen hands. She points to a narrow passage behind the pantry. You know it, though you rarely use it at night. It winds behind the kitchens, beneath the linen rooms, past the candle store, and up through a quiet stair that opens near the rear of the round table hall. Servants use it to bring wood, wine, folded cloths, and fresh candles without crossing the main court. You dismount and leave Lark in the care of a kitchen boy who promises solemnly to offer oats and no more than one apple. R looks at you as if this is a poor beginning to negotiations. Inside the passage, the castle-esque grandness falls away. Here Camelot is stone steps worn by carrying feet, shelves of beeswax candles, hooks for aprons and cloaks, a basket of mending left beneath a lamp, a broom leaning in a corner, small windows set high in the wall, showing pieces of moon and roof. The air smells of bread, wax, clean linen, and old wood smoke. You walk quietly. The letter rests against your side, warming and cooling with your steps. The wooden sun from Rowan is tucked beside it. The brass handbell has stopped pointing anywhere. It hangs straight down, as if satisfied. You pass the candle store. One candle on the shelf burns with a blue flame. You stop. There is no draught, no one nearby. The flame bends toward the satchel. You take out the letter. A thin line of writing appears on the back of the folded parchment, not inked onto it, but shining through from within. Not the throne, not the sword, not the spell. The table remembers the hands beneath it. The words fade after you read them. You stand in the narrow passage, surrounded by unlit candles. The table remembers the hands beneath it. You think of the carpenters who shape the round table, the servants who polish it, the pages who bring fresh water to those seated there, the messenger who carries words from one chair to another, the stable hands who ready horses before dawn, the bakers who feed the council before decisions are made, the bell-keeper whose midnight notes tell the castle how to rest. Camelot is not one hand. It is many hands, most unseen. The passage opens ahead into a small room behind the hall. There, a single old woman sits beside a stack of folded table linens, mending the edge of one with thread the color of cream. She looks up as you enter. You have seen her often, but do not know her name. She smiles, not surprised. "Nearly there," she says. "Do you know where the right hand is?" She ties off her thread. Most people look for the right hand above the table. She folds the linen carefully. Try beneath it. You look at her. She only picks up the next cloth and begins mending a tiny tear. "What is your name?" you ask. "Tonight," she says, "Myra, and tomorrow," her smile deepens, "still Mira, I expect. Tomorrow needs ordinary names too." A clock somewhere strikes the quarter hour. The sound is small, but it moves quickly through the passage. You bow to Myra and continue. At the top of the hidden stair stands a narrow oak door. Beyond it lies the round table hall. Your hand rests on the latch. The letter is warm now. So is the wooden sun. The castle holds its breath around you. And somewhere above, the bells wait for midnight. The round table hall is almost empty when you enter. Almost. The lamps have been lowered. Their light pools softly across the stone floor. The hearth has settled into red embers, and the large shadows of chairs stretch outward from the table like the spokes of a great wheel. Rain taps lightly against the high windows, though when you crossed the court the sky was clear. Camelot, you are learning, keeps more weather inside its walls than one might expect. At the far side of the hall stands Merlin. He is not doing anything dramatic. He is holding a candle and looking under a chair. This is somehow more unsettling than if he had been surrounded by stars. He straightens when he hears the door close behind you. His beard catches the candlelight. His robe is dark blue tonight, stitched with small silver lines that might be constellations or simply careful mending. "There you are," he says. "I was expected, by the letter certainly, by me, only in the way one expects rain after watching clouds argue all afternoon." You step closer to the table. The blue seal is bright now. Every mark on it shines. The bell, the road, the leaves, the open hand. Merlin's eyes soften, and he sees it. "Tomorrow has a steady hand," he murmurs. "Do you know who should receive it?" "I know who should not." He sets the candle on the table. That's often the more useful half of knowing. You wait. Merlin counts on his fingers. Not Arthur. He already receives too many messages and listens to most of them with admirable patience. And Guinevere, though she may understand it before anyone else. Not me. Letters from the future, just like wizards. We are always tempted to correct the grammar of time. The rain continues at the windows. Then who, you ask? Merlin looks at the table. It depends on what the letter has learned. You take it from your satchel and place it on the polished wood. For one breath, nothing happens. Then the entire table gives a soft, low sound, not a groan, not a crack, a note, deep wood remembering the forest. The candle flame bends toward the center of the table. The blue wax melts slightly, though it does not run. Instead, the seal loosens, opening like a flower made of wax. You step back. The letter unfolds by itself. Merlin remains still. On the inside of the parchment, words appear slowly, line by line, as if written by invisible ink warming beside a fire. To the hand that carries without being seen. To the feet that know the roads between great names. To the one who brings tomorrow into reach, by walking patiently through today. You do not read further at once. Your throat has gone quiet. Merlin says nothing. The words continue. Before midnight, place the sun beneath the table. Let tomorrow's crest have roots. Let the bells ring rest over Camelot. Let every hand be remembered. You take Rowan's unfinished wooden sun from your satchel. It is glowing faintly. The carved rays are no longer unfinished. New lines have appeared in the wood, fine and graceful, completing the circle. At its center is the same open gate from the crest, but smaller, humble, almost hidden unless one looks closely. You turn it over. On the back are names. Not all of them. There could never be room for all. But many, written in tiny script. Elowyn, Alden, Rowan, Alice, Mira, Bedivere, Lark. You smile at the last name before you can help it. More names glimmer and fade, as though the wood holds too many to show at once. Merlin moves to one side of the table and kneels. Beneath the polished edge, where the great central support meets the floor, there is a round hollow no wider than your palm. You have never noticed it before. No one does, Merlin says, though you had not spoken. That is why it is a good place for roots. You kneel beside him. The floor is cool through your trousers. Beneath the table, the world feels different. The great hall becomes a circle of chair legs, soft shadows, and low firelight. Above you is the place where kings and knights speak. Here below is the quiet architecture that holds it up. The hollow waits. You place the wooden sun inside. It fits perfectly. For a moment, nothing changes. Then the round table warms. The warmth moves through the wood, into the floor, up the chair legs, across the hall, and into the walls. The candle flames lift. The rain at the windows slows. Somewhere far beneath the castle, perhaps in the kitchens, someone laughs gently in surprise. From the stables, faint but clear, comes the soft whinny of a horse. The letter rests open on the tabletop. A final line appears. The right hand is not the hand above all others. It is the hand willing to carry what belongs to everyone. The words settle. You understand then. The letter was for you, not because you are greater than the king, or wiser than Merlin, or braver than any knight. It came to your hand because your hand carried it, because your feet knew the roads, because you listened at each place instead of rushing past, because sometimes the future is kept not by those who command it, but by those who bring small things safely where they belong. Merlin folds his hands into his sleeves. Well, he says softly, that should make tomorrow easier. Wes have not yet rung midnight, but they are close. Brother Alden will be waiting. The letter lifts from the table and folds itself again. The blue wax seal reforms, now marked only with the open gate, rising sun. The words on the front change one last time. Delivered. You hold it carefully. What now? You ask. Merlin smiles. Now Camelot must be told what kind of night it is becoming. You run no faster than a person should run through a sleeping castle. That is another thing a messenger learns. Speed is useful, panic is not. You move through the rear door of the hall and down the narrow stair, one hand on the wall, the delivered letter tucked safely inside your satchel. The passage lanterns burn lower now. The candle store is dark, except for the single blue flame, which bows slightly as you pass, like a courteous little star. Mira is no longer in the linen room. On the stool where she sat, a folded cloth waits. The poppet lies a small stitched sun in golden thread. You carry it with you. In the kitchens, Mistress Alice is covering bowls of dough for morning. She looks up as you pass and reads enough from your face not to ask too many questions. Bell tower, she says. Yes. She hands you one more warm roll, for after. Outside, Locke is waiting, fully awake, apple-free according to the kitchen boy's guilty expression. You mount quickly, and Locke turns toward the chapel before you even touch the reins. The castle court is silver with moonlight. Mist has thinned into long pale ribbons along the ground. Windows glow here and there, but most of Camelot has settled into night. The world is made of quiet hooves, distant drain, the faint hush of banners moving against stone. At the bell tower door, Brother Alden stands waiting with his cloak wrapped tight around him. You found the hand, she says. Yes. And did it belong to who you expected? No. Good, he says. Expected things have enough work already. You dismount and follow him inside. The climb feels different now. Earlier, the tower seemed full of questions. Now it feels full of breath. The ropes hang from the beams above, thick and still. The great bells wait in darkness higher up, their bronze bodies catching dim moonlight through open arches. Alden gives you no instruction at first. He only points to the small table. There are 3 cups of tea again. This time, all of them steam. You almost laugh, but softly. Who is the third for? You ask. Alden's eyes twinkle. Tomorrow, perhaps. It has had a busy evening. You place the delivered letter on the table. The blue seal glows once, then settles. Brother Alden touches the parchment with one finger and nods. Rest, then. Rest. That is what the bells will ring. He walks to the ropes. Not warning. Not summons. Not celebration. Rest. He gestures for you to stand beside him. I have never rung the midnight bells, you say. Most people have not. I do not know the pattern. You know more of it than you think. Bell, road, leaves, hand, hall, forest, kitchen, table. Listen first. Pull second. That advice has saved many things from becoming louder than necessary. He places the first rope in your hand. It is rough, warm from years of use, and heavier than it looks. Alden takes the second. Above you, the bells wait. Time narrows. Then the first stroke of midnight begins. Not from the tower, from the castle itself. A deep silence gathers, so complete that every small sound becomes part of it. Your breath, Alden's sleeve, the rope shifting in your palm, Lark outside stamping once on the stones. Alden nods. You pull. The bell above answers. Its sound rolls out over Camelot, low and wide, carrying not urgency but shelter. The note moves through the chapel roof, across the sleeping garden, over the stable yard, down the misty road, into the kitchens, through the round table hall, and out toward the forest, where Rowan's blue lantern still burns among the trees. Alden pulls the second rope. A higher bell joins yours. Together they form a pattern older than the current banners, older perhaps than the castle walls. You listen. Pull. Wait. Pull again. The bells do not command the night. They bless it. Rest, they seem to say. Rest, all hands. Rest, all roads. Rest, all who carry. The sound continues, measured and kind. By the seventh note, windows begin to glow softly across the castle, not with people waking in alarm, but with candles lifting as if in answer. The chapel garden shines under moonlight. The stables grow quiet. The city below the castle seems to exhale. By the ninth note, the blue seal on the letter fades to silver. By the 11th, the stitched sun from Myra warms inside your pocket. By the 12th, the bells settle into silence. Not empty silence, resting silence. Alden releases his rope and closes his eyes. There, he says. You let go slowly. Your palms hold the memory of the rope. For a while, neither of you speaks. The tower is full of the after-sound bells leave behind. Sound that cannot be heard so much as felt in the bones of stone and wood. At last, Alden pours the tea. You drink beside the narrow window, looking out over Camelot. Tomorrow has not arrived yet, but it no longer feels far away. When you descend from the bell tower, Camelot is sleeping differently. You cannot prove it. No messenger-s report could name such a thing properly. Yet the change is there in the way the lanterns burn without flicker, the way mist lies low and untroubled along the courtyard stones, the way the chapel windows hold moonlight as gently as bowls of milk. Lark waits with her head lowered, on hind foot resting. She opens one eye as you approach, then closes it again, apparently satisfied that the kingdom has not fallen apart without her. You stroke her neck. Well done, you whisper. She exhales warmly against your sleeve. Brother Alden remains in the tower, humming as he coils the ropes. The midnight bells have finished their work. The letter in your satchel is light now, no warmer than ordinary parchment. The future, having arrived just enough, has stopped pressing against it. You lead Lark instead of riding. There is no need to hurry. The upper court is empty, except for two gods speaking quietly beside the gate. One nods to you, the other raises a hand to his heart, not formally, not as a salute required by rank, but as a small acknowledgment of the bells that have just passed over them all. You return first to the round table hall. The doors are closed, but not locked. Inside, the lamps have dimmed to a low amber glow. Merlin is gone. The table stands silent, holding its circle in the center of the room. You walk to it. Nothing shines now. No blue flame. No moving words. No silver road in wax. You kneel and look beneath the table. The wooden sun rests in the hollow, as if it has always been there. Its pale surface gives off the faintest warmth. You cannot see the names on its back from here, but you know they remain, glimmering where no one is likely to look, unless they are willing to kneel. You place Mira's stitched sun beside it, folded small, a simple thing, thread on cloth, but the table gives a soft wooden note, almost too quiet to hear. Accepted. You rise. On the tabletop lies the delivered letter. You are sure you left it with Brother Alden in the tower, yet here it is, folded neatly with the silver seal facing up. The word on the front has changed again. Remembered. You pick it up. For the first time, the seal opens without warmth, without mystery, without resistance. Inside is one short line. Thank you for carrying tomorrow gently. No signature. None needed. You fold the letter again and tuck it into your satchel, not as a message still waiting, but as a keepsake that will perhaps be collected by someone in the morning, or perhaps vanish before dawn. Either way, it has done what it came to do. As you leave the hall, you pause at the doorway. The round table behind you is quiet. The hearth glows low. The chairs wait in their equal circle. Some places deserve to be entered gently. Some deserve to be left that way too. Outside, the mist has begun to lift. You lead Lark toward the stable yard. The road slopes downward between sleeping walls. Near the kitchens, Mistress Alice has left a cloth bundle on a windowsill. Inside is the roll she promised for after, along with 2 sugared almonds and a note that reads, "For messenger and horse, do not let the horse read the word sugared." You smile and give Lark 1 almond anyway, because some instructions are written with hope rather than expectation. At the stable, Mistress Ilawan waits beside a lantern. She has a blanket over one arm, and the expression of someone who has not slept because she chose not to. "The bells rang rest," she says. They did. Good. She drapes the blanket over Lark's back and begins loosening the girth. Camelot needed that. You help in the familiar way. Buckle, strap, saddle lifted carefully, bridle loosened, mane smooth, hooves checked by lantern light. After the strangeness of the evening, stable work feels like returning to your own name. Lark settles into her stall with oats and a royal sense of deserving more. Mistress Sullivan watches you hang the tack. "Did you find the right hand?" she asks. You think of the letter, the table, the bells, the unseen passage, Rowan's wooden son, Myra's thread, Alice's bread, Alden's ropes, Bedivere's patience, Merlin looking under a chair. "I found many, you say." Elowan smiles. "That sounds more like Camelot." The stable lanterns burn low. Beyond the open doors, the castle rests beneath the moon. Tomorrow's crest has not yet been announced. The banner has not yet been stitched. The council has not yet gathered. Most of the kingdom has no idea that the future came quietly through its roads tonight. But the table knows. The bells know. Your hands know. And for now, that is enough. Near morning, you wake in the little room above the stables. You do not remember lying down. You remember folding your cloak over the chair. You remember placing the satchel beside the bed. You remember the last lantern in the yard being lowered until its flame became no brighter than a firefly. And sleep must have come, not all at once, but like mist returning to a valley. Now the room is gray with early light. Rain touches the roof softly. For a moment, you lie still beneath the wool blanket, listening. The stable below is beginning to stir. A horse shifts. A bucket is set down. Someone murmurs a greeting. The castle bells ring the first hour of morning, clear and ordinary, though something in their tone seems warmer than yesterday. You sit up. Your satchel rests where you left it. The mysterious letter is gone. In its place lies a small piece of blue wax, no larger than a coin. The seal pressed into it shows the open gate and rising sun. Around the edge are the tiny words, "Tomorrow begins by being carried." You hold it in your palm. It is cool now, ordinary wax. Almost. A knock comes at the door. Mistress Elowan enters with a cup of watered cider and a slice of bread spread with honey. "Council gathers after breakfast," she says. "The Queen's new banner will be shown." You slip the wax seal into your pocket. Do they need a messenger? They always need a messenger. Her eyes crinkle. But today, They mostly need one who has already slept at least a little. You eat by the small window. The stable yard below glistens with rain. Lark stands beneath the awning, dry and dignified, watching two younger horses behave without her level of maturity. Beyond the yard, Camelot rises into the pale morning. Smoke drifts from chimneys. Servants cross the courts with baskets, candles, folded cloths, and trays. Knights walk without armor toward the hall. Pages hurry, then remember not to spill anything, then hurry more carefully. The world has resumed its ordinary motions, yet ordinary feels different now. You dress in your messenger-s tunic, fasten your belt, and check your satchel. 3 new letters wait inside. One for the gardener, one for the armory clerk, one for Brother Alden. Though when you see the sender's mark, you suspect it is from Mistress Elise, and may contain instructions about eating properly. A 4th letter appears. You are glad. Some wonders should not be greedy. By the time you reach the upper court, the rain has thinned into a silver veil. The round table hall doors stand open. Warm light spills onto the stones. Voices murmur inside. You do not enter far. Messengers know doorways well. They are often asked, stand in them, near enough to be useful, far enough not to interrupt. From your place by the wall, you see King Arthur standing beside Queen Guinevere. Merlin is near the hearth, looking more innocent than any wizard has a right to look. Sir Bedivere sits with his hands folded on the table. Around them are knights, stewards, scribes, servants, and a few craftspeople called specially for the morning. Mistress Elowen stands near the back, freshly brushed, but still smelling faintly of horses. Mistress Alice has flour on her sleeve. Brother Alden is pretending not to fall asleep. Rowan is there too, though no one seems to have seen her arrive. Myra sits with a basket of mending in her lap, as if a royal council is as good a place as any to repair a torn hem. The queen steps forward. A page carries the folded banner to her. When she opens it, the cloth falls in a soft wave. The new crest shines in morning light, a rising sun, an open gate, and beneath them, so small that many may not notice at first, a ring of tiny golden hands woven around the lower edge, not one hand above the rest. Many hands, joined quietly. A hush moves through the hall. The king looks at the banner for a long moment. Then he does something no one expects. He kneels and touches the bottom edge of the cloth, where the small hands are stitched. A kingdom is not held by a crown alone, he says. His voice carries, but gently. The words settle into the hall like warm rain. You see Guinevere glance toward the back of the room, where Maris' needle flashes once in the light. Merlin's eyes find yours for the briefest moment. He does not wink. That would be too obvious. But the candle beside him burns blue for one small breath. The council begins after that. There are matters of roads, harvest stores, winter repairs, visiting envoys, and the planting of violets under chapel windows. Important matters, ordinary matters, Camelot matters. You deliver your letters as needed. The day passes. By evening, the rain has stopped. The sky clears slowly over the western hills, and a cool golden light moves across the castle walls. The new banner hangs above the round table hall, not yet weathered, not yet familiar, but already belonging. You stand in the stable yard, with Lark beside you. Mistress Elowen has given you the last route of the day. A simple note to the chapel gardener confirming the Queen's permission for winter violets. Nothing mysterious, nothing sealed by tomorrow. You carry it gladly. The path to the chapel garden is quiet. The beds are dark and ready. The gardener reads the note, smiles, and places one small violet bulb into your hand. For the stables, he says. Every place should have something that blooms in the cold. You return as dusk gathers. In a corner beside the stable door, you kneel and press the bulb into a small patch of earth where rainwater falls from the eaves. Lark watches solemnly, as if supervising a royal ceremony. The first evening bell rings. Its sound moves over Camelot, warm and unhurried. You sit on the low wall outside the stable, cloak around your shoulders, satchel resting beside you. The tiny blue wax seal lies in your palm, catching a last light of day. Tomorrow has become today. Today is becoming night. The castle settles around you. Kitchens breathing out bread warmth, lanterns waking one by one, hooves shifting in straw, distant voices softening under the first stars. The road beyond the gate fades into mist again, ready for whatever messages morning may bring. You are a royal messenger of Camelot. You carry words, errands, promises, and small pieces of the future from one hand to another. Some messages arrive with trumpets, some arrive with royal seals, some appear quietly in a satchel at dusk, and ask to be understood before they can be delivered. Tonight there is no strange letter, only the ordinary peace after one has been carried well. The stable lantern burns low. Lark sleeps above the castle. The new banner moves gently in the night air, its open gate turned toward the road, its rising sun waiting for morning. When the final bell of the evening fades, you remain where you are a little longer, listening to the quiet it leaves behind. The road does not ask you to hurry. The castle does not ask you to prove anything. And the night, soft over Camelot, holds every hand in rest,